magnificent Dean, and John, who is inside a traffic light. How are we, boys?
I am inside a traffic light, to be honest with you. Look, I've spent the last couple of days up in the RDS doing some bits and pieces, so I'm currently in what you would call one of these bougie meeting rooms with mental lighting, so you have to excuse my Shrek-like nature for the evening.
I think it suits you, man. The thing is, the years start coming and they just keep coming. And all well for you. Do you know any upsetting results lately? Any games?
Dean's happy this
United
week.
1-2-0 against City.
Oh, United! So. Did they win? Sorry, I'm only sagging because our league is in full flow and I am absolutely pounding Dean. I'm beating him like he owes me money this week. It's my first win this season, so
top
I'm very
top three about it. Top three and another win on the bounce. So apart from my week where I had everybody out injured, and I picked up Mo Salah this week in preparation of next week. So
you picked up Mo.
Oh yeah, so I've beaten Jack with an arm tied behind my back to stack out my front line. So now my team is looking rather sexual. So I've actually played this week with Amanda. But anyway, let's get on to
what's on the menu, John. What's on the menu?
Well, obviously, I think we need to talk about the Manchester Derby because the Manchester United DNA is supposedly there and not there, and I don't know if it's there, and everybody seems to have a fucking opinion, so we're going to have ours. Then we're going to talk about what the hell is happening at Crystal Palace. It seems like from what was looking like one of the most promising seasons in a club's history, the wheels have dramatically gone off the bus in like 48 hours. Like, their captain's leaving, the manager's leaving, their main centre forward is probably leaving, the actual fuck. Then we're obviously going to look at the week, I think it's week 23 fixtures next week, or this weekend coming, and that's basically, and maybe a little updatey on where we're at with our level again, because there is theirs. So do we start with,
Manchester.
Do we start with Michael Carrick is at the wheel? Dean, talk to me, because I have some very fucking strong opinions on this bullshit, and I'm going to let you be happy before I emaciate it all.
2-0 United against City, a full City squad it seems. Haaland was not able to break down our defence whatsoever. I know you said before we come on that was part of us on the edge of your box, but I mean, strategic football, we've been on a terrible run. We can't win against any big teams, and we were at home against a team that beat us 3-0 back in September. So you do what you got to do. When we had the ball, in the 38% possession, I think it was that we had. Not a lot of possession, 32. Sorry, yeah. Not a lot of possession, but when we had it, we used it well. We had, what was it? I think 5 big chances. We had 11 shots, 7 on target. And that's not including the disloads and the crossbar that Maguire had as well in the first 2.5 minutes. Mason Mount's goal at the very end, supposedly, apparently used the wrong defender to draw the lines on that, so he actually wasn't.
So it's okay when it's a Man United conversation, but when I say it for someone else, like we get that bullshit. Nah.
I'm just talking about what I'm seeing on the television. Okay, so it could have been
ready to go, John.
Could have been 4-0. Could have been 4-0. Could have been 5-0. But yeah, whatever tactics he put out that he changed from the Amram days, it seemed to work.
When difference in fucking tactics.
When they were in their our defensive third, overload the box with 5 or 6 players. Don't give Haaland any space to move and get his tap-ins. Maguire did well, going kind of like 1-on-1 with him. I just feel like everyone really did their job really well. I think Dallo was maybe a little bit quiet.
Dallo should have been sent off.
Oh, it should have been sent off.
It was a red card. Let's just get
studs up across the knee. Studs up across the knee.
It was with Jimi, the fact that it didn't go to a VAR decision to people.
Yeah.
The studs down over the shin pad, over the ball.
Mm-hmm.
High intensity, not in control. Like the only person who seems to think that Dallo shouldn't have been sent off was Dallo. Like even the studio thought it, even like the pundits thought it. Everybody bar Michael Carrick and Dallo seems to think that was a solid red card. And to be honest, solid red card and could have changed the complexity of the game. Now, from my perspective, my thing is, Man United over the last 6 weeks have been missing Ahmad, Mazraoui, and Mbeumo. Last night they had Mbeumo and Ahmad back. The difference that those two boys make to your attacking output is mental. It's almost like the last 6 weeks he hasn't, the previous manager hasn't had the attacking options to, like, they've had the chances, but they were falling to a Dorgu, they were falling to a Dallo, they were falling, like the shot volume hasn't changed. Like if you actually look at the metrics over the last 4 or 5 weeks, the actual attacking output hasn't actually massively changed in that game. The difference was who the player was actually that was on the receiving end of the ball is of a higher standard. And Dean, you said they lost to City at the start of the season, but they also beat Chelsea. They have beaten Liverpool. Where Man United have dropped their points has been against Everton, West Ham, Burnley,
Wolves.
Teams that will teams that will go, here's the football, break us down. What Man United played yesterday was essentially a higher grade version of what Nottingham Forest did under Nuno, which is we have really fast fuckers in the attacking spaces, and when we suck up the pressure, we'll defend our box religiously, and then these 2 or 3 fellas, aka for Nottingham Forest last season, it was Morgan Gibbs-White, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Anthony Elanga, and then having a target man in Chris Wood hit. United yesterday had Speed and Dorgu and Ahmad out wide with Mbeumo as the pin man then to play. So essentially it was very similar tactics to what Nuno would have played under Forest with a better attacking output. Man United will drop points against Fulham, Everton and West Ham in the next few weeks. Like that's 3 of their next 6 fixtures. They have Arsenal next weekend. I fully expect them to beat Arsenal because Arsenal will come out punching, and it's the kind of game where that dressing. Oh yeah. I'm going to say it now early. Man United will beat Arsenal next week because you've got this. You've got this attitude right now. The players need to prove to whoever's coming in that they warrant their position. Arsenal are going to play a style of football that plays. Man United should have beaten them on the first day of the season, apart from an early disallowed goal where it could have been 2-0 at the time, and then the result got flipped, and like that could have been clean like daylight at the time. And I think they will have enough to beat Arsenal next week because that will suit. Very similar to City this week, it's suited. Man City this week had fuck all in the way of defenders. Like they were playing Kushnov and Alanin at centre back, so they had fellas they could get at. Arsenal, if you can get down their left channel with what's missing, which is essentially Ahmad and Mbeumo's channel, that's where they're going to have their gateway. It'll be the following week against Fulham. It'll be the week after that against Everton. It'll be the week after that against West Ham. The fixtures they've dropped points in all season, where all those 3 teams will just sit at the edge of the box and go, there's the football. Man United have won most of their games this season when they've had under 50% of possession, not being the dominant controlling team, which has been what the fans and pundits have been bitching about, but which they also praised yesterday. So, which is it?
So, okay, like I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I mean, and it might not be too pretty, but, you know, like you said, Nottingham Forest got into the Champions League last year playing that style of football. Arsenal look like they're on the verge of winning the Premier League this year, playing set-piece football. I think, I heard there the other day that I think Arsenal have only won 3 games this season where they didn't actually have a score set-piece, like, in the entire game.
The team with the most set piece goals this season is Man United.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. No. But like you're saying, we can't win from open play, so what are we supposed to do? Play to whatever kind of strings that you can. So it might not be pretty football, but look, if it works for Michael Carrick's squad until the end of the season and gets into the Champions League places, I'll take it all day long. But
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I think
it's top 5 now. Will be so.
I get that, but I'd say.
And if an English team wins it, will it go to top 6 then?
No, that's what pushes it to the 5th. If the coefficients of 5 is the maximum they can have in. But what will happen there, and because this is what happened under Ragnick as well, this is a very simple. Essentially, the last 6 months of the season is almost a write-off because this is what happened under Ragnick. He essentially was to come in and like audit the team, and they essentially for the first 4 or 5 weeks they played that 4-2-2-2 box type system under Ragnick. And once everybody, the dressing room realized that this fella isn't getting the job, they kind of went, well, fuck it, we can go on our hollybops because it's June when a new guy comes in. He's not going to dump out half the squad come summer. So I can basically vibe until summer. The new fellow will come in and check us out. So I probably have another year at the club without having to break my balls for the rest of the year. And in professional sports, if you have that small little mental drop off, right now they're playing for their fucking credibility is what they're playing for. And the only reason Man United might get away with it this year is that it's a World Cup year. So the selfish nature of footballers will say, I need to be on the plane to the USA. And that might be the only saving grace for Michael Carrick, that the innate selfish nature of footballers will say, I need to be on the plane at the World Cup, so I'm going to play not for you, not for the club, not for the next manager, but to make sure I'm on the plane. Like Luke Shaw is going to go to the World Cup having played less games since the last World Cup for Man United than he's going to have played for England, but he'll go. I can nearly bet my bottom dollar that he will end up this time in the summer on the plane once again.
So is it time for an uncomfortable statistical truth, gentlemen?
Hit me.
Manchester United did not win this game. Manchester City lost it. It was the most bizarre set of selections and substitutions I've seen out of Pep yet, right? If you look at the actual scoring in terms of involvement, as we tend to around here, the only player for City that did anything really of note, well, there was two. It's Rodri, because it always is, took home 19 points, and new boy Semenyo got 14. Now, your usual hitters in the midfield are remarkable by their absence. Phil Foden was taken off at halftime, I believe.
Yep, and that was wrong. I thought it should have been Doku and Silva to come out, but anyway.
Nothing for Nunes, nothing for Gonzalez, nothing for Diaz. Reinders got 10 minutes. Like, it was as if the bald fraud set out to play a bad team.
Nunes didn't play, Gonzalez didn't play, Nico O'Reilly was actually benched for this game.
Absolutely bizarre stuff. And as a result, like you say, 32%. Nobody beats City with 32% possession. Nobody. They know how to control it, but not when they only play half their fucking team. Which, to be honest with you, United were bad, but they weren't bad enough to chance that kind of rubbish.
United were not bad. United
sorry. I mean through the season, not this weekend.
Sorry,
I mean, United have not been a team to be scared of all season. Not really. I will eat my own words from last week, though. I was slagging anyone for being stupid enough to pick up Dorgu, and he scored again.
Yeah.
And it's looking like he might be a viable asset. But I don't think this is United are back. I think this is City are dead.
You think City are dead?
I think they're in trouble.
I think City got away with
around
this
like
weekend. Well, City, I disagree with this, and because this will bring us on to the next topic in a minute. But they're after kind of emaciating Bournemouth by taking their best player. They're after emaciating Palace by taking their captain. And this is what Man United used to do under Alex Ferguson for years. They did it with like Berbatov, they did it with Carrick, they did it with endless players. They look at the teams in the Premier League and take their best player out of them, essentially. Now, they've also been playing with very few fit defenders for the last few weeks. They got away with one this weekend that Arsenal couldn't capitalise against Nottingham Forest. If they beat Nottingham Forest the other night, we'd have been talking 10 points clear. It's 7. It's 7. It's 8. It's 7 or 8. I think it's 8. I still don't want and City still have 11 days to go and buy another 1 or 2, and I reckon they'll do another 1. I reckon they will do one more player, and I reckon that's probably going to be a right back. If I was to be a betting man, I would be saying City will come in and pull a right back from somewhere over the next 2 or 3 weeks. And now you're looking at the new wave of Pep's team since this time last year, where they bought Marmouche, where they brought in Gonzalez, where they brought in Kushinov, then they brought in, during the summer, Cherki, Reinders, Donnarumma. Like, the difference between the boards at Man United and Man City are night and day. And Patrice Evra being the voice of reason, I've never heard of it. And he literally said, right, in the summer, Pep lost De Bruyne. So the board went out, gotten Cherki, Reinders, Ederson was gone, so they got James Trafford and Donnarumma. They got 2 goalkeepers to replace Ederson. Man United have been begging for a central midfielder for the last 4 years, so they went and bought Benjamin Sesko.
This is it. And look, I think City have a lovely recovery coming up over the next couple of weeks, because their next 3 games are Wolves and then a highly beleaguered Spurs, who will probably be without a manager at that point, and then they have Liverpool. It's just that I think Pep went a week early for fucking around with his plan, because had he waited a week, you could play fucking 4 toddlers and a goat against Wolves. They're going to win at home. But this was the wrong match to gamble. He fucked around.
I don't think it was a gamble. I don't think it was necessarily a gamble. I think he was looking at what his fit defensive options were, and the way City have played this season with Nunes and Nico O'Reilly as the 2 fullbacks has actually been a fascinating way of playing, because essentially they congest. They're 2 midfielders playing a fullback, right? So essentially, when teams congest the pitch against City, what they're able to do is move the ball and move the players over to one side, and then you've got 2 players with midfielder quality in O'Reilly and Nunes, who essentially switched the play, which is where the likes of Cherki has gotten overloaded on the an underload on the far side because Nick O'Reilly can essentially switch it, and that's where he's getting his assists from. They're essentially switching it to a Doku or a Xerxes. It's where Nunes has been picking up his points for, is the switch because teams compress. Now, what they were missing was Diaz. What they were missing was Stones. So they had to basically go, right, what covers us defensively? It wasn't the game to be playing Xerxes and Doku, because that would be a case of, right, we've got no fullbacks, we've got no centre backs, and now we're going to play the maverick wingers who like to stay forward and not get back. Oh, fuck that. So this was very much it wasn't a fuck around play, it was a tactical,
fair enough. If you see method to his madness, you can see this more than I can. I'm just looking at numbers and going, they lost to United.
Oh yeah, they cocked it. But this is why they went and got Guehi. So Guehi slots straight in there at centre back, and it's your man Max Alanin. And this is this is a good time to segue across, because Guehi, now he came out today in his press conference after signing, going, "I'm at the best club in England," and that was the full statement. That was the full statement.
I'm just gonna give a little summary because people may not be fully aware of what's going on, and all three of us have a tendency to go straight to the story and skip the headline. Marc Guehi, who we all knew 6 months ago was the missing piece of Arne Slot's plan for Liverpool, and then it fell through last minute, leaving them with a terrible defence for 4 months, has now signed for Man City and seems to be the snowball that has started an avalanche of chaos at Selhurst Park. What's happening?
Yeah. Okay, so essentially back in October, at the October international break, Glasner and the ownership of Palace basically agreed that Glasner will finish out the season and his contract is up and he'll go and get a new challenge. Now, there's plenty of jobs essentially that have and will be available. So Chelsea job was recently up. The Man United job is available in the summer. There's international jobs after World Cup that'll be available. There will be the Spurs job will probably be available. The Newcastle job could easily be available because Eddie Howe could be the next English manager after Thomas Tuchel. There's a good chunk of Premier League jobs. And I'm going to pin on Eddie Howe being the England manager after Tuchel's World Cup, by the way. So that's my argument.
It's a good call. So I can see it.
So Newcastle, Spurs are both going to be looking for managers. Man United are going to be looking for a manager. It could be the time where Pep steps down as well. He could come to the point where he's like, I'm at the end of my cycle. Fuck this now. I've got the team in a place where I'm happy to hand it over. There's going to be jobs available. So they kept that quiet from the fans. They kept it quiet from the players. But this week, Friday at 5 p.m, the captain signs for the Premier for Man City when you have a match at 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And his first time hearing about it from the club was at 10:30 on Friday morning. Now, if you're a manager, you've been training all week, you've been setting up a team all week, you've been playing your system all week, essentially with Guehi in. And at 10:30 on the Friday morning, 24 hours before a game, he's pulled and told, by the way, we've accepted a deal for Guehi. He's off the city to do a medical. And you're like, could you not hold this off till Sunday, maybe?
Yeah, it's baffling, really, like what Palace are doing after the success they had in the FA Cup last year. Just like dropping basically all of their best players. I mean, like Mateta could go this window as well. By all accounts, he's heavily linked with Juventus.
Like I was going to get to that.
Yeah, Glasner said, they have like 11 or like 12 or 13 players in their squad, and the rest of them are like kids on the bench. And it's like no disrespect to the kids, but
they're kids.
they know what level that they're at, like, and they know why they're on the benches because the guys who are on the bench now in the starting 11 playing for the guys who are now at other clubs. So it's just crazy. So yeah, I can understand why he's come out with the comments he said about feeling abandoned and. Like you said there.
And this was the thing. He basically said he's out in the summer, and it's almost like the cuffs are off, and he's free to now say his piece.
Yeah.
And Dean, as you said, he basically sat in that press conference. Well, they sold my captain with 24 hours. They sold Eze in the summer, and we only replaced him with Brennan Johnson in January.
Mm-hmm.
So like they sold their most attacking output player in the summer and only bought his replacement in fucking January.
Mm.
So here's the silver lining, maybe. For anybody who's paying attention in fantasy world, I think while Brennan Johnson has disappointed at several clubs now, I think the value of Ismail Assar just went through the roof if Mateta goes, because there's really not much else by way of picks in that team, and he's established in there.
I think we have a different problem
though.
with Palace, Jim. I think we actually have a different problem. So we've been saying since the start of the season, Newcastle, Arsenal, and Palace defenders are where it's at, right? Now you've got the great leader out of the back line. Munoz has been injured. Richards has been injured. Lacroix has been injured at different stages. When one of that piece of that puzzle is missing, wheels fall off the bus. They've been missing Decore to Afghan, huge loss. If you pull Mateta out of that squad now as well, you have fuck all firepower because there isn't a centre forward ready to go in there. So that means they have to either go find one that's going to hit the ground running, which no guarantees, especially in the Premier League or a Palace.
Expensive too. Like if the whole world knows you're stuck for a striker in the third week of January, you're going to pay.
Well, it means you're also probably looking at loan markets. You're probably looking at, right, who's not working out at who's not working out at Spurs, who's not working out at Arsenal, who's not working out at
Roma?
Yeah.
Oh, Evan Ferguson?
Dare I say it?
Well, no, Tammy Abraham is going to go to Villa, by all accounts, right?
Oh. Really? What did I just tell Abraham? Is he still not going to
pushing it a bit, yeah. He's... How old is he? He's 28.
And well, so Tammy Abraham's a striker, right?
Out now striker, Abraham, yeah.
Yeah,
out
so
now.
what?
But that's what they need is a man up front line.
But isn't like Ollie Watkins in around the same age as him? So I mean, it's Ollie Watkins.
Would you leave Villa for Palace?
Wait, sorry. Tammy Abraham was going to Palace or Villa? What are you saying, John? John?
Oh no, the lights have changed. John is now stuck in a traffic light with no audio. That's okay. We can plow on. I think maybe he did.
Oh no, I'm back. Sorry, I was saying. So there's merry-go-rounds here happening in certain clubs, right? So Evan Ferguson is probably sticking around at Roma, but Roma just bought Donny Mallon from Villa. So this is where Emery's tantrum came from, was selling an attacker before a match when they don't have attacking substitutions at the moment, which is what's triggered his fucking outburst. Now, that they're also trying to get Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham is a Roma player on loan in Turkey, so the Turkish club have asked for a week or two to find their replacement, so Tammy Abraham can go to Villa. Now you could see Crystal Palace trying to hijack that move, but again, this is where the dominoes of the January transfer window all come into place. Sorry there about losing the connection there temporarily, but that's kind of where, and like if you're a Palace right now, you're probably looking at who's around London, who doesn't want to leave London, who can go stick themselves up as a centre forward. Who, like Tammy Abraham was a Chelsea boy, he falls into that gap.
I was actually going to say, would it actually be maybe worth or Palace having a look at Chelsea's enormous squad and seeing, okay, who have they signed on 8-year contracts who maybe doesn't want to play for them anymore? Well, maybe not 8-year contracts. But,
well, you're probably looking at Raheem Sterling, probably looking at Guehi, the third choice striker there. You could be looking at Armando Broja, who keeps going on loan every other fucking 6-month term, who's at Burnley now on loan. But the problem there is it's a case of if you're a Palace right now, asset wise, I'd be like sell on Palace assets because the players now know the manager's out the gap. They know that their captain. They know their captain is gone. They know their centre forward one's out. They know that their best attacking player left in the summer. So you've also got a lot of those players there who are going to be in self-preservation mode of what gets me a contract somewhere where I want to go in the summer because I don't know who the next manager is going to be. I don't know what the system's going to be. I don't know what the future's going to be. Fuck this noise and get me out of here.
It's a good spot for visibility, though. Like, the one thing that gives a little bit of advantage to the remaining players is that obviously anybody who's in that squad and established in that squad now, the World Cup concern is always there for every player in the Premier League right now. And I think some of the guys who have been nailed on all season and guys who I have in the past said weren't up to much are now going to incrementally increase. Like, keep an eye on Horton. His points per week are solid. His overall points are solid. We're steering clear of defenders, I know, and for very, very good reason. But Horton, Sarr, and to a wild degree, even though it seems counterintuitive, again, it's a statter thing. If your defense is weakened, your goalie's going to be busier. And I do rate Dean Henderson as high quality. So he's going to be picking up stats in a way that he wasn't until now, because again, like Donnarumma, he had a world-class defense in front of him. Well, maybe not quite like Donnarumma, but you know what I mean. Like, these are the guys you want to watch now is who's the second mouse, who's still standing out there, Because if there's clearly going to be a trouble getting someone in to replace gaps, the guys who are established are that much more nailed on. They might not be getting the wins, but they will certainly be busy. But yeah, you're right, John. I would be avoiding their defensive assets. They've been great so far, but that will fall apart without Guehi. And yeah, just watch their mids, watch their goalie. I would say is where the value might be from here on in, but it's not pretty because, like you said, if the boys know the boss is on the way out, you're not going to give it 110, are you? You're going to be thinking about who's out after him and where you got to land when all of the dust settles.
Yeah,
it's just the nature of the beast. So I can see this impacting performance. Plus, they lost to Sunderland. Now, there's nothing wrong with losing to Sunderland, but the week coming, you've got Chelsea. Chelsea are no joke. I know they're lunatics, but they're no joke. The week after that, they're away to Forest, who managed to hold Arsenal. And the week after that, who have we? Away to Brighton. So, rough times ahead there. I wouldn't be picking them up. I wouldn't be dropping everyone. You might see increased value in some.
No, Henderson's the only asset worthwhile there now for the next.
Henderson is the one I think you're going to see the biggest increase in points per week from. But Johnson could work out great, though.
Not if you don't have a centre forward to play. If you're a winger and don't have a centre forward to hit, what's the fucking point to you?
Well, there's that. Although I was reading the other day, I was reading about history of football tactics just a little. Yes, that's right. That's right. It turns out there was this lad from this country called Spain, and he played a 4-6-0. And it got me thinking about all of these teams that we say don't really have a point man. And the big five, right? United have Sesko, who's questionable. Arsenal have Gyökeres, who's questionable. Liverpool have a £150 million hole. Arsenal, Liverpool, City have Haaland. Okay, City have Haaland. Fine, fair enough. And Chelsea notoriously have no strikers.
Haaland
so
hasn't scored a goal in open play in about 8 games or now, I think, though. So Haaland hasn't scored in open play in 8 games.
I mean, is the striker dead, lads? Is there room here for wingers without strikers?
No, we said at the start of the season that the big man was back, right? And the stats have been kind of backing it. This is why a lot of the only player who was spent over 70 million and it wasn't over 6 foot in the summer was Florian Wirtz. Like everybody else was Ekitike 6'3", Isaac 6'4", Woutamandi, Sesko, Gyökeres. What's been happening there over the last few weeks? It has less to do. Like Haaland's in a bad run, but he stacked his goals so fucking early. You're grand. Mateta, he always scores in bunches, does a couple of games without.
Streaky.
He's a slightly better than streaky. Like I'd say, Welbeck, Jimenez, Chris Wood, they're your streaky strikers. They'll score 4 and 5 and then do nothing for 10. Whereas Mateta will score 3 and 5, do nothing for 2, score, do nothing for 1, then score 3 and 5 again. And his numbers are steady. And I think he's the type of fellow that if he went to a better team with better service, his numbers would start to solidify. If you get me, he'd be like in the. I know people don't like Lukaku, but his numbers at Man United rock as 1 and 2. That's his. That was his output. He if you look at his stats at Everton, 1 and 2. If you look at his stats at Man United, 1 and 2. So it comes down to Mateta's in that kind of frame that at Palace, his numbers are 1 and 2. So with the right kind of transfer under his belt, he could be the type of player who 1 and 2 as he's fit.
It will be a shame to see him leaving the Premier League, to be honest. I think a team like Arsenal, again, he's based in London, Arsenal or London club, I think they should really be all over him, especially. But I think they probably want to back Gyökeres. What did they spend him? 85 million, was it? In summer or something like that. So I suppose you don't want to give up on your 85 million euro or pound asset halfway through the season. But
I know a club that notoriously is very, very friendly to players who are already in London and don't like to relocate and show up very, very late in every transfer window. Is there a possibility? Is there space? Spurs? Is there a need? Fulham.
Mateta, Fulham. Yeah, there is a possibility, but I don't think the money that Palace would want for it. No, Dean, you touch your face at this, but if the deal was about 50 million, Fulham would do it. If the deal is 80, they wouldn't. If the fella's I want to stay in London, I'm happy at a club this size where there's not too much expectation. I can go about my business.
If he's linked with Juventus, I think that he kind of feels like he's at a level now where he can make that step.
He should be going to a Champions League club. I think it's going to be a Juve. I think it's going to be a Man United. I think Juve, Manchester United, and I would have said Spurs up until literally out this week, because I don't think they're going to go back to the manager with another centre forward or another player when there's a very serious question marks over.
Who's the centre forward now? Is Solanke back at all?
Solanke's back on the bench the last 2 weeks. He's come back.
Richarlison is still starting, is he?
No, he's out injured.
No, he's injured.
7 weeks.
So who's starting?
He's buggered, mate. Hamstring job.
It's been Mateus Tell, it's been Kola Moani, it's been kind of a rotation between them. It was Richarlison up until
they should be really looking at Mateta, honestly.
I think most clubs, I think he'd sort Chelsea's problem massively in terms of a senior, more experienced striker. If Chelsea were that way inclined to buy someone over 25, Mateta's the obvious plug and suits their fucking style. And also, in terms of frame of type of strikers that do well at Chelsea, like let's think historically, the strikers that have failed there have been like Crespo, Shevchenko, like big name bastards. The guys that have succeeded there have been Diego Costa and Didier Drogba. Strong bully boy type strikers. Now different frames, different ways of playing, but again, Mateta is a very ragdoll type centre forward as well. Like he loves getting in and amongst it, like, so I think he'd suit Chelsea and the fan base. I think he suits any team apart from probably fucking Liverpool and City. I think he goes into their certain team.
Talking about players that teams are losing, one on injury yesterday, one that you were going to talk about a couple of weeks ago, Jim. Didn't McGinn go off with what looked like a pretty nasty injury yesterday?
Yep.
John McGinn. And you said that he was like one of Villa's name assets from a fancy standpoint, wasn't he?
Oh, so, yeah. Everybody else has spiky weeks, right? So there'll be a week where it's Watkins, a week where it's Rodgers, a week where it's whoever, a week where it's Matty Cash. McGinn just throughout. And he is their captain, isn't he? Like, he's the real deal.
Yep.
But a little bit at that point of age now where injuries hurt.
But that's also the part where, where Emery's comments came from, right? So, and this again, we will move off Palace and just touch on this Villa thing before we look at the fixtures.
What's the story with Emery going, Matt? I thought he was
because let's say, well, like Glasner stores his toys out of the pram, and Maresca did it a month ago. Amarim did it a couple of weeks ago. Glasner knows he's on the way out, so he's going to be throwing his toys out religiously out of the pram for the next few months. Emery is actually a bit of a spiky bitch of a manager at times. Like, we all remember his Marco Bijal interview at the start of the season. When he's not in the mood to be interviewed, he's not in the fucking mood to be interviewed. Now, they have Harvey Elliott on loan, who they can't play because they've decided they don't want to buy him. And if he makes a couple more appearances, like 2 more appearances, it's a 40 million fucking transfer. So he's a sub they can't use. It's a very similar situation with Jadon Sancho. He's alone with a buy, with an option to buy, or his contract is out, or something like that. So they're not overly enamored on him. They sell Donny Mallon 24 hours before a match, and then the captain and one of their better attacking output players also goes fucking down that day. And he's like, cool, in the space of a week, I've lost 4 fucking attackers. You fucking bastards. And I've been begging you for wingers since Marcus Rashford and Asensio didn't finalise their deals, and on deadline day you got me Jadon Sancho and Harvey Elliott, neither who I fucking want, neither who are any fucking good. You sell the one I did fucking want, and now I'm sitting there with John McGinn wearing a fucking ice pack. And this is where his comments going.
Boards getting too involved in the fucking transfers and not listening to the managers who are actually the ones who are picking the bloody teams.
But isn't this the difference between a head coach and a general manager? Like, isn't that the whole thing? Is that it's the American model where you've got a head coach?
He's manager.
And then, he's manager, is he? Okay, fair enough. I haven't actually looked into who has what title, but isn't this that thing where the Americans come in and play like NFL?
I don't know. The titles even mean anything anymore. Like, if you're in the bad books with the board, you're the head coach. When you're in the good books, you're the manager. Like, so I don't know. Who the hell knows what's going on? But yeah, I mean, they're doing so well. Like, and you just think that like he's doing such a really good job with them. Like, they really should be just giving him what he wants. And Joe, he's not asking for a wage player. Like, Barcelona could be on the verge of signing Rashford for 30 million quid, next season. Like, I mean, if United asked for 50 million in summer last year to ask Villa, or Villa asked to pay for 50 million, they should have said, yeah, Marcus Rashford proven in the Premier League. Like, he's won trophies. He's Joe got in second place in the Premier League a couple of times. Like, yeah, definitely fucking sign him, but I don't know what happened there. And then, yeah, like John said, they went down and got Sancho instead, who was proven not to be capable in the Premier League and proven to be throws his toys out of the pram when things aren't going his way. And that's basically the way things have been going for the past season, half season.
Not long ago, well, okay, it's a while ago now. It's nearly a year ago. We were having a look at the January window last season, and the kind of consensus in the room was that Villa had won the window. But I wonder if now, looking back, for the return they actually got long term, did they win the window, or did they just spend the most money? Because all of what they threw at it, Asensio did not work out. He was grand for a couple of games, but it didn't work out. Rashford's gone again. I mean, they had a brilliant
their defense hasn't been too bad. Conte has been, doing pretty well for them. They thankfully managed to keep on to Martinez. I know United were kind of linked with him a bit. I don't know who else was linked with him, but I mean, like, he's massive. Like, they've got to keep on with him. Tielemans has been doing the business as he always has. Watkins has had a bit of a late start of the season, but he's starting to pick up a few points now. And Rodgers is. Who did they lose again? John Duran. Yeah, John Duran. They lost him to the Saudis last season. He was a big loss because he was good from netting goals, but looks like he could be, by all accounts, on the way maybe back to the Premier League now, but not to Villa. But
not to the Premier League. Went to Turkey.
Oh, Turkey, yeah.
Douglas Luiz, like, the thing there with Aston Villa, right? So, like, he didn't want Harvey Elliott, and apologies for dropping out there. The Wi-Fi here is not the best. So, fucking Donny Mallon obviously gone. They wanted to keep Rashford as Dean, as you rightly said there. Rashford is at Barcelona at a tidy price, and Villa basically had the fucking deal done until they didn't. Marco Asensio, they basically had that deal done until they fucking didn't. And it's because they dragged their heels on the Asensio deal for some reason, because I think they thought Harvey Elliott would have resale value in the future, if you get me, versus Asensio, who's at the tail end of his career. And Emi Martinez was nearly gone this summer, and it was just timing more than anything else that deal didn't get done. Emery's comments were essentially, we're not a top 4 team. There are 3 other teams below us with higher potential. The teams below him that he's talking about are Chelsea, Liverpool, and either Man United or Newcastle.
Yeah.
They're 2 of the 3. Do you know what I mean? So he's not wrong in what he's saying, and essentially he's saying to the board, going, if you want to stay in this position in the table, come. Because he said, like, we've had a great start to the season, and we're going to drop off, and we're going to end up where we belong as a squad, which people are saying it's a weird comment to this. It's not really, because, like, the reality there is that they're going to end up where their squad should be. Like, if you don't have attacking output on the wings and you're losing players through injury, like, look at Spurs when they've been missing Solanke, Madison, Kulusevski, and you're putting around pegs. Look at Man United when they were missing Mbeumo or Ahmad. Look at, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at. And Emery's essentially very black and white saying, going, if you want us to be a top 4 team come the end of the season, I need the players to finish this job. So can you not maybe sell one of my wingers until we have a replacement, or maybe not have me going into a match week with no attacking subs on the bench? So I think he has every right to. I think this is one of these things, because so many other managers have had their pops at their board in the last 2 weeks, that it's like being read more into. Emery is like this. Emery has history for this. Do you not remember some of his press conferences, even the end of his Arsenal time with his good evenings and stuff with this? Like, he has form for, but he says it as it is. I like him as a manager. He goes, we're third right now. We're 10 points clear of it. But if I don't have the players to keep us here, we won't be here come the end of the season. Yeah, what's the issue with what he said?
Yeah, so they're away next week to Newcastle now. Newcastle just drew with Wolves. Wolves for the 4th game in a row now, after picking up points. Surprisingly.
Time to invest.
But also, one more thing to look at from the Emery perspective, look at the jobs that are available in the summer.
Yeah.
So he can easily sit there in front of his board and go, come here. But if you're in his shoes right now, sitting there, and the board are like, we're not going to improve the squad, you have to get into the Champions League before we'll buy you 2 attackers, he'll go, okay, fine. But when X or Y with the bigger potential clubs that I've talked about come looking for me in summer, I will be there.
This will be why.
And I'm sure that's the private conversation going. I've named 3 clubs with bigger potential than us.
Yeah.
So if you want us to be there come the end of the season, then maybe that's what you need to.
Well, I'd have Man United anyway, any day of the week. So here's hoping.
So but anyway, I think that's
let's take a look.
Let's take a look at what is the happy hap. So let me so this match week, right? This moment, some of the managers that should be sacked that are still in jobs is beyond.
Hang on. Before you go to next week, I would like to remind you all that this week ends at 10 o'clock tonight because Brighton will beat Bournemouth 3-1 starting at 8 p.m. Carry on.
Anyway, on Saturday we're going to have West Ham versus Sunderland.
At Sunderland all day.
You think that's Sunderland win? You think? I don't know.
I do.
West Ham are in some pretty good form.
Against Spurs.
Are they?
They're not.
If they can take that momentum into this week, they're okay. But the problem is they're also at home and they're notoriously shocking at home.
I think that's a draw. To be honest, I think that's got a draw right now over it.
Lost to Wolves, lost to West Ham. Lost to Wolves, lost to Forest at home. Beat Spurs. Sunderland, different tier. No,
there are 2 wins on the bounce. Actually, draw. They have 2 wins on the bounce, and so do Sunderland. So I think it's a draw. To be honest.
No, they don't.
Right,
lost to Forest 2 weeks ago.
Oh really? Oh sorry.
Yeah, they lost at home to Forest 2 weeks ago. Look, I just think we're talking about a bottom half team and a top half team in every sense of the word there. Sunderland have never given us any reason to be worried. I think they win this, but as always, it's Granit Xhaka.
Oh, I was looking at the FA Cup or Carabao Cup, whatever it was.
Yeah, they're still in the cup.
Well, they're still 2 wins. But go on.
Yeah, I think if they can take a bit of momentum into this, it can help. They were actually quite good against Spurs, but I do see a draw. I actually see a draw here as well. I think this is one of these. I think I can see a draw here. I think there's also the fuck you Paqueta element where Jarrett Bowen and Matthias Fernandes are going to step up for the next week or two, as we don't need him. Well, look at what happened last week. Suddenly Paqueta is not the main focus and Somerville pops up. So I'd be keeping an eye on Somerville as a potential asset. I wouldn't quite pull the trigger on him yet, but I'd say he's the one that could benefit the most from Paqueta not being around.
I don't know. I think maybe Xhaka. I think that he could probably bully them in the midfield a bit. If you weren't going to pick anyone from West Ham, I'm just going to say Jarrett Bowen because I have him in fantasy and starter. But yeah, other than that, it could be a poor draw even. It could be 0-0 draw.
Could be.
I'm going to go 1-1 draw. I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Crescentio Somerville is my asset. The 3 o'clock kickoffs then are Burnley versus Spurs.
Joel, I thought it was going to be the end of the line for Thomas Frank. It looks like he's going to maybe last another Gameweek. Spurs.
Not if he loses this one.
Spurs could.
I think Spurs are away. Spurs are away, so Spurs are away because they're away.
Spurs are away. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Spurs are away, so they're going to win, and Burnley are crap. So I think that's a Spurs. Win because they're away. They're just terrible at home for some reason.
Tight Spurs win. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be the opening shot it would have been 2 months ago. And I have no clue who the asset is. Romero and Paro are the 2 assets.
Yeah. I'm just going to say for the cracks, Solanke, now that they have no one up front, really, they might trust.
Now that he's back, yeah, do you know what? I can see.
What's next, John?
Yeah,
what game is next, John?
Fulham Brighton, 3 o'clock. Easy Fulham win. Easy.
Not even a little. Not even a little.
Iwobi, Bassi, and Chukwueze will all be back.
Brighton are on form.
Fulham have lost back. 1 in the last. Okay, Fulham have lost 1 in their last 8.
We put United out of the cup in the 3rd round, and we're putting Liverpool out of it in the 4th round. We're going to beat Bournemouth tonight, and Matoma is back, and you've got nothing on the pitch that plays like Kaoru Matoma. Nothing. No, there is no player in the Fulham squad. There's no 2 players in the Fulham squad duct taped together with the value of Kaoru Matoma. And now he's got Kadioglu behind him, who is starting to fill the Estupinian gap.
Nah.
Mark my words, this one's going to be not just a beating for Fulham. They're going to get sanded down so that there aren't even any little corners left on Craven Cottage. It's going to be called Craven Lump by the time my beautiful seagulls are done with you.
So Iwobi is back, Chukwueze is back, and Calvin Bassey is back. And
Chukwueze had 1 good game this season.
Okay, but he's back. and it's fine.
Okay.
I think Fulham and I think Harry Wilson is the asset in that one.
What are you, John?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I think that, but that's the reality. But
Brighton just haven't been convincing this season. They just haven't been like in the games that Fulham have lost, like John's right. They have been kind of screwed in a lot of games. So I don't think
he's gone full John. He's done it.
I don't think the position that they're in at the table truly reflects them this season. Whereas Brighton have been unconvincing. You say they're in form, but they won the last game. They drew for that one, drew and lost. So not sure.
They beat your crowd last week. They're going to beat his crowd this week. And I told you.
You just said for West Ham the cup didn't matter. So which was
told you. No, December was going to be bad, but we shall see.
We'll see.
Next up
is Bournemouth, Liverpool. Oh, sorry, City Wolves.
Oh, I think fucking.
Next up.
I think Haaland could score a hat trick. Honestly, could be 3 or 4
Ryan Jerky will start in that game. Ryan Jerky is the one to go for. If Haaland scores, it'll be a jerk. It'll be a Jerky. If Haaland scores, it'll be a Jerky assist. And if it's not a Haaland, and if it's not, so Jerky's the one for me.
Okay.
I think Semenyo, and at a stretch, what you call that lad at the back for Wolves who's going to be mad busy.
Oh,
can't remember his name now.
I know you're talking about. Yeah. Agadou.
Diego.
Yeah.
Bueno.
I know what you're talking about. Bueno.
Yeah, if you need something at a bit of pinch, that it's him, but he's going to get hurt. Bournemouth, Liverpool?
It's Bournemouth, Liverpool. Bournemouth.
Really?
Bournemouth. Yep.
What was this?
Look at Liverpool's form.
Oh.
Liverpool. I know Liverpool. The Liverpool thing is like, we haven't lost in 11, but there's like 6 draws in the last 7 in that run as well. Like there's an awful lot of. Remember that screenshot I put into the group there?
Yeah.
But remember that because Gary was doing the big one about Florian Wirtz, and like their last couple of games are 1-1 against Burnley, 4-1 against Barnsley, 0-0 with Arsenal, 2-2 with Fulham, 0-0 against Leeds, 2-1 win against Wolves, and a 1-0 against Spurs before that, and a draw against Brighton before that. So like that's
Yeah, it's not the most stellar form I've ever heard. Really, like you beat Wolves and Spurs, woo.
So whatever about Barnsley. So right, if you look at their league form, it's draw against Burnley, draw against Arsenal, draw against Fulham, draw against Leeds, and beaten Wolves 5 games ago. So the Liverpool fans are doing the big one at the moment about Florian Wirtz is on form. Florian Wirtz has scored in games they haven't won.
Yeah, that's it. They can't win games.
They have 1 win in 5. They have 1 win in 5. It's 1 win in 5 in the league.
What's that since Salah been scored?
Salah.
Salah's been away in Afghan.
Oh,
He's in
sure.
Well, Africa.
Yeah, he's been for the past couple of weeks.
But that's been their form. Like they're unbeaten in 10. Like I respect that in all competitions. They're unbeaten in 10. But if you just look solely at their league form, it's 1 win in 5, and 4 draws on the trot. 4 draws on the trot.
They're 5 wins behind first place, and they're in 4th, and it's their own fault in the last 4 weeks. They're 14 points behind Arsenal. Like, yeah, I get it, and I think it's not really as simple as just Isaac isn't there and Salah isn't there. There were problems there before AFCON or
Salah will
injury.
Salah will be back, but he'll probably be on the bench for this one. But he'll be on the bench for this one, I reckon, to come back.
He comes back from AFCON and he's a fucking third for 4 weeks every year, and that's in the years when he was good. And this year he has not been good. You know,
this is why it might be a miss. This is why I think there's a chance that it could be a flip reversal on this year, because traditionally he's wank at this time of the year, where this time could be the time of the year where he's good because he's trying to prove a point that, boss man, do you know the way you said you wouldn't miss me and you dropped me for 2 weeks before I left, and this is all going to rear its head again from next week onwards.
Maybe.
But more important, but I'm going to say it's a Bournemouth result, and I'm going to say it's Evan Nielsen is the asset there, because he's a bully boy type of centre forward who is the exact type of centre forward who gets under their skin right now.
Not a bad shout, yeah.
I'm not taking assets for this game. I'm not taking anyone for this game. Genuinely,
Florian Wirtz is the asset for Liverpool.
Wirtz is the form player, yeah. Yeah, he's the form player. I brought him in FPL this week.
He is the form player there. He has gone on a little run. I'm still going to stand by my words that he won't live up to his price tag. He'll be completely fine for them, but he'll never be what they want him to be. He is on a little run of form, but that little run of form has been against Wolves, Leeds, Fulham, Burnley, Barnsley.
Draw Tavernier. I might back Tavernier. I think he's been in pretty good form as well.
Tav's solid when he's fit.
Yeah. And if you had to pick a Liverpool one, I suppose Wirtz or maybe Van Dijk as well. But yeah,
it's Wirtz. It's Wirtz.
Yeah,
And it's Wirtz. And it pains me to say it, but I do. Because I know Gary's doing the. Oh yeah, he's finally fucking. He's fucking not. Stand down. He's playing against. Apart from Fulham, every other team he's scored against has either been in the Championship or in the bottom four of the league. Step down, buddy. Moving on from that, Brentford Forest.
Brentford.
0-0.
No, Brentford. I think Brentford will do one.
Brentford, Thiago. Brentford and Thiago.
Yeah, Thiago
Forest.
is playing 10th season of his life.
Lads, Forest are so good at the back the last 4 weeks. They're
This
proper dicing it, like.
So, Jimmy, do you know the way I've said about styles make matches and stuff like this?
Yeah.
This is a slug off. This is two teams that, like, Brentford and Forest play a very, very, very similar way. Play for set pieces, play security first. Forest playing long balls into Nick Collins isn't going to work.
No.
In the same way that Brentford playing long balls into, like, Django Watra is not going to, or not Watra, but Thiago isn't going to work. But Thiago's got something in his arsenal that, like, the Forest don't have in terms of centre forward. He's on fucking form.
Yeah, he is.
He's got like he's got 7 goals in his last 3 games, or 6 goals in his last 3 games, or something like that. You've got a form striker in 2 teams that are going to play war of attrition football. So, like, it's Brentford.
Take Kelleher and guarantee the clean sheet. I know what you're saying. I think Thiago, despite being on super duper form, I think Thiago is just a little bit puntier this week because Forest are a tight defense. So it's not whether Thiago is good or not. It's whether this is a good week for Thiago. Kelleher's going to have a good week. There's no 2 or 3 going past him at home.
No.
So if you want to play safe, go Kelleher. If you want to aim for the stars, go Thiago.
Fair. Next up is Palace Chelsea.
Chelsea, just with the turmoil that fucking Palace are going through at the moment, it's got to be Chelsea. And I'm going to go on Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez, yeah, in good form. We got an assist this week.
Joe Pedro.
Yeah.
It's an attack. It's very
much
much a Joe Pedro. It is a very Joe Pedro week, but the thing is there, he might not start. It could be Delap, it could be Estevao, it could be Garnacho, it could be Neto, because under Rosinha, they haven't really figured out what the attacking axis is going to look like, but Enzo is definitely going to play, and Enzo is definitely going to contribute. So a safe bet, similar to what you said about the previous game. If you want your safe bet, it's Enzo. If you want you're reaching for your fucking Toy Story reach for the stars type one, it's Pedro.
If you want a moonshot, by the way, if you want an absolute moonshot, Adam Horton. I do not expect him to win the game, but I expect him to be very busy, and he is like that weekly score in terms of actual fantasy is just creeping up and up and up. So don't sleep on him.
Newcastle, they're then at home to Villa.
That's Villa all day long.
Newcastle at home.
Yeah, Newcastle at home.
Don't matter.
Newcastle at home.
They're not that scary.
Do you know what? Actually, I think Newcastle are going through a thing at the moment where they don't know who their best striker is. 1 week Wisa is starting, the next week Ultimate is starting. You know, they're not really scoring. Just fucking go Aston Villa. I think Aston Villa will win. Yeah, I have no idea who you would pick to start for Newcastle. Like, Ultimate is not doing anything, and Wisa, I think he scored a couple of weeks ago for them, but for some reason, Eddie Howe doesn't have enough confidence in him to start him every week. Yeah, I'm going Villa, even though
different styles, different ways of playing.
Who do we like?
I think it's hard for me to look past Newcastle at home. Malik Thiaw has obviously been in very, very good form. Anthony Gordon's been in good form. It's not your Visa, it's not your Wilson Mendy, it's your Bruno Guimaraes, it is Anthony Gordon, it's Malik Thiaw. You
took the words out of my mouth with B-gums, man. I'm all about Guimaraes this year. The stats are unbelievable. That whole midfield, Tonali as well. If you're playing in our game, Tonali is actually the highest scorer of the 3 of them for the last 4 weeks. But I'm going to say defenders at Newcastle or Morgan Rogers.
What about Cash for Villa?
Always a solid pick. Not this week?
Might injured out as well, I think.
Oh dear.
Not 100%. Okay. That would be. I have to recheck that in, but no, I can see Morgan Rogers or Newcastle defenders. Whoever comes out at the top of that battle is the next game up. Arsenal Man United. I'm actually saying Man United win, and I'd be putting the point, and it's arguably fucking Dorgu and Bruno again.
Bruno, he's just fucking so solid, isn't he? Bruno's just the man. Whether even when they fucking lose games, he's still the man to have on the pitch. He's such a good fantasy asset.
No.
What, and Stellar?
No, the assets on those two teams, the two nailed on assets for those two teams are the two that will be fucking squaring off and keeping each other working. It's David Raya and Brian Mbeumo. Mbeumo and Raya. I'm telling you, Arsenal will go ducks arse in this game. They've dropped 5 goals in 8 games. Right? I know they're not where they were at the very start of the season, but defensively they're absolutely incredible. The only problem is because they have all of the defenders, if you're not sure who to go for the goalie. And normally he wouldn't be busy, but Mbeumo's on form. I think Raya is making crackers of saves all the way through this game. I think he holds off Mbeumo for the whole game, and Cunha, if Cunha plays. I think
it's a Raya before week. Styles make matches, and I think this is one where Man United's new manager bounce, they'll get away with doing this countered. Like the Man United fans lapped up the counter-attacking football against City 2 weeks ago. Remember against Ole when they did that for a couple of games, and then it was like, we want to see the next progression, we want to see get at teams. United fans are currently in that we're happy to get a result, so we'll play that war of attrition backs against the squad is a very high level counter-attacking squad with a fan base and ownership model who don't want to hear that. If Man United play counter-attacking football against every team they play against, they end up very, very high in the table. But it's when you want them to control games is where they'll fuck it. This is exactly the type of game where Arsenal's 2 fullbacks go and Ahmed and Bruno pick them off.
2-0 Arsenal.
I wish I had your confidence, John, but I don't know.
Oh no, because they're going to fuck it in the final. No, Dean, because this is the thing. They'll beat Arsenal, and it'll be oh my god, we're back. He signed the contract, give him whatever the fuck he wants, and then you're going to lose to Everton.
It's but it's Fulham in 24, by the way. Do you know what's really interesting about the last fixture of the week? Is whoever's winning at half time, Jack Harrison's going to pull on their jersey for the second half. Everton. Should be a good one. But I have to say Leeds on form edged that for me.
Everton on form. They just beat. Who did they beat again this week? They beat Villa.
This is one of the ones I'm leaning on the home.
Yeah, that's Everton for me. That's Everton.
That was Jimmy. I was watching that game. That was a fucking misery game of football from both sides. It was like one of the first shots on target in the last in extra time that decided it. That was
stuff like absolutely awful.
It was shocking, and I had that highlighted as the fixture of the weekend, and it was an absolute. Like that was 2 teams of similar level who both been scoring goals. So obviously it was written in the stars. It was one of the worst games all fucking season. Everton, I'm leaning at home. Because it's at home. If it was in Elland Road, I'd be saying it's an easy Leeds win. I think because it's at Everton Stadium, I think it's going to be just. But it's both. It's 2 teams to score. It's a 2-1 or a draw.
I'm actually going to contradict myself now because I just said take a goalie in the last game. I'm going to say take Jordan Pickford here.
Yeah,
I think Leeds will keep him busy, and I don't think he's got much of a defence in front of him. Tarkers was always a safe bet as well.
I'm going to say Calvert-Lewin for Leeds. Actually, he could put one pass.
This is good. Yeah, I get that too.
So that's game week 23, and that's most of what we have to talk about tonight, isn't it, boys? It's been wonderful as always. But should we maybe talk about the little tweaky tweaks? He says, twiddling his mustache. Oh my God, purple hellish beard gap thing. Sorry, folks. If you're watching, everything just got weird there for a minute. Just so you know where we're at with the app. I know we say this a lot, but we're very, very close now. If you, I'll tell you what. We won't say anything out loud. We'll do a little treasure map, a little treasure hunt for all of our listeners. Which is, if you wanted to find an app, where might you find it? That's all I'm going to ask. If you were to stumble over it, where might that be? Anyway, it's on the way. We'll be getting in touch with the first wave of the waiting list with league codes really soon. I'll be commissioning your first ever league with Statter. We're going to have a hell of a time, all of us. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to build community, have some great times, and screw over John. That's it from me for the week. How are you boys doing? We good?
I'm done.
Oh, John and Saturday mornings and the stream. My apologies, sir.
Oh, yeah. Yes, actually, last week's stream was absolutely lifted. One of our biggest fucking streams to date. I'm just going to keep plugging on with them. I'm loving the little community that we're starting to build over there.
Where
a
do
lot
we
of
see
return
it,
listeners over on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Over on TikTok. I do TikTok lives now. Never thought I'd say that, but here we are. Never thought I'd say that, but here we are.
If anything, he's underselling himself, folks. John started out doing a little preview of the games to come on a Saturday, and it became hanging around chatting for the first of the games. And on one of the weekends, he ended up doing something like 4.5 hours and 2 full games.
7 hours. I watched every match back to back.
And the community just keeps getting better and better. There's great banter. I'll show up in the comments now and again. I might even pop on camera if time allows. But it's a great little community, and that's follow StatrCast over on TikTok, or for all of the other info, you can go and try and solve my puzzle. Where do you find that? Or head for StatrDraft.com and follow all the action there.
Yeah. Happy? Let's bounce.
All right.
Peace out, my friends.
Latest, people.
Bye-bye.
Much love.